Welcome to Forbes India Presents Business Lodestones, where we unravel the journey of visionaries who are shaping the business landscape. Today, we have with us Vaibhav Maloo, Managing Director of the Enso Group. It is spread across various industries from IT to real estate, and the conglomerate is primed for growth. Mr. Maloo, or Vaibhav, as you told me to, insisted that I call you by your first name. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we get started about your journey within the outfit itself, Enso itself has had a bit of a history in terms of what it means.
Right.
And what does it mean, and how did you guys begin back in 2005?
So back in 2005, we were hunting for names. So we thought of a surname, we thought of multiple options, and then we thought of a name which meant enlightenment, which is the core philosophy of Jainism, which is the promoter family religion, which is our religion. And that made us sort of think about how Buddhism and Jainism are similar, and how we should not only adopt English names which are from the West, but a beautiful Eastern name from Japan in Japanese called Enso, which means Circle of Enlightenment. We have always been fascinated by the power of mind, and that's what it signifies. In fact, the tagline "Enlightened Life" is something linked to our logo and the meaning, and the name meaning.
Right. And today you are in various industries, including, I think, lubricants and IT, healthcare. Where did you start off, and how did you diversify over time?
We actually started in 2005 with acquisition of 3 Jordan oil blocks, oil and gas exploration licenses. Following that, we had a bunch of proposals from different countries and companies from around the world who came to us when they realized we are into energy. We took up a few more opportunities, and we sort of were partners in some, we were operators in some, and we started a journey in oil and gas. Today we have one major gas field with us in Russia, which has 1.3 TCF of C1 plus C2 reserves, which is a pretty large significant find anywhere and for any comparison for that matter. So we are happy.
So when you first started off in 2005, what were the different hats you wore, and what was your experience back then as a newcomer, a novice in this field?
In this field, actually, which was a niche field, we realized that Fortune 500 companies, the top companies of the world, were Shell, Chevron, and other companies. Markets were pro oil and gas. There wasn't awareness about EVs and electric vehicles and environment at that point. We thought this industry is the way to go because oil was soaring $100 also. And blocks were easily available at that point in the market. A lot of people came to us with opportunities, and we sort of captivated and made sure we take what we could afford to take. And each year is an expensive industry. It's high risk, high return.
Right.
So I learned a lot of things. While studying, I was learning risk awareness, which is a main sort of thing I learned, because everything else is very simple in business. It's when you break down the different modules that it becomes difficult, and even further down, maybe it's even easy.
Right.
So it's all a mix of different things. Education is not what business is about. It's about really the acumen and the willingness to make money, work hard, expand, know what your valuation can be, know what your profit revenues can be. And so I learned early on that high risk, high return businesses are very, very, very risky. But now we have it's been bountiful for us in the end, but there's no guarantee it will be for everybody else. It's the most valuable lesson I've learned.
Indeed. And when you started off, I think back in the day, you must have, I think Jordan is where you went to for. So tell us more about that experience of.
When I landed in Jordan, I was greeted by people we knew, investment bankers, etc. We had gone to actually see if we could take up oil and gas opportunity in Jordan. We saw the map of Middle East, and we saw that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, etc. had gas and oil in the south side. But at the same time, north side is not empty. Iraq is next to it. Jordan Basin, the whole area must have something. We were excited as hell. Actually, frankly speaking, we took those blocks in May 2005, I believe. We signed them. And that would be a founder's day. For one of those days, we have to check the exact day of signing. Would be the founder's day of Enso Group, I would say, because that opportunity was actually one of a kind. I would say, because it's a very rich industry. I mean, if you strike something, you can be rolling in money overnight.
Did that happen overnight, or did it take a while for you?
It took a long time, because I think there were a lot of hits and misses.
Right.
And to hit was later.
There is a funny line by this comedian called, I forget his name, but he said it takes 20 years to become an overnight success. So it takes a while. While people might see somebody out there, maybe it's an Olympic medal or even in an outfit which is doing well, but it takes a while to get there. And you've done your hard yards in terms of education as well by being part of the likes of Carnegie Mellon and Oxford.
Right.
What subjects did you study? And we'll get to how it's helping you in your current gig. But what took you there? And how was it, the experience?
Well, as an undergrad student at Carnegie Mellon, I entered as a B school, undergrad, and I had ambitions to do engineering and business both together. Soon I realized it's not a cakewalk, and I dropped the idea of engineering and focused on business. 2005 came. This is 2003. 5 came, and we started Enso Group. My father split from his partner and started his own company, which was very exciting because it was all ours and we couldn't control it, and there was no sort of interference from anybody else. And soon after that, I took some time off from college to work and focus on business back home. I never wanted to drop out, but Carnegie Mellon was not my favorite environment in terms of a city or a city feel or anything like that. But I wanted my degree.
Yes.
It was very easy for me to study there. But to spend time there and leave this exciting opportunity back home was not so easy. So I took some time off, graduated doing summer school, spent a semester in Qatar campus of Carnegie Mellon. It was an exciting education experience. My professors were very supportive. They actually made me do classes online by adding me on video conference in a full classroom. So they were super accommodative. I especially remember Dr. Milton Cofield. He took my hand up as a student, star student, and really gave me a lot of valuable lessons and insights into business and a lot of things that go along with that.
Right.
It was his subject. He was the head of the undergrad department there, and I remember fondly that Oxford education of mine. Right, it was more of studying in a place which was the mecca of education. I feel. From 14th century college dinners to extremely exciting and stimulating classroom lectures with people from around the world, like who would travel across from say Australia, South America, Canada to Oxford University to attend those classes. Let me tell you something. Education, people say, is underrated when it comes to business and acumen. I would say you cannot learn business by doing case studies. You can expand your horizon. You can rediscover its aversiveness. You can learn lessons. You can even get ideas. But it definitely is something that you have to do to be able to command any kind of subject matter knowledge and dissect your different segments, and then be discursive and never get lost in the
Details.
in the details or over optimism or take a hit or something like that. It sort of protects you. Education. People should study and then get into work. And never take the shortcut like they see dropout billionaires take, or the richest guys in the world, like the famous dropouts take. It's not the way to go. I took that route because I had to come back to India from Cambridge. I went to Cambridge after that executive MBA, and I came back to India after that, and I didn't finish it because I had work back home, and which was my calling. But I regret that decision because that business shut down later, and I don't have a degree from Cambridge. But if I could go back and change one thing, I would change that. I would want my degree.
Yeah, so you're basically saying if you're starting something, don't quit unless there is a reason to.
Absolutely, it's a bad habit.
And yeah, it is. Whether it's going
unless it's smoking.
Yeah. No, generally, I think there is this concept of sticking to it and putting your feelings aside and wading through it, even if it appears to be difficult. Now, on that note, these are complex businesses that you handle. So, are there times when you can't obviously read everything, whether it's education or secondary research or reports, whether it is trading, oil and gas, healthcare, IT, disparate industries. So, how do you keep up with knowing what's happening? Because the buck stops at you and you've got to take certain decisions at the end of the day.
So, my father basically is an operations hands-on man and he's an expansionist. I am more of an operations guy. I'm more conservative in sort of taking risks, owing to a lot of fear of a lot of time wastage and money wastage. So I'm very careful that way. What I do is I stay at par with the reading materials from different industries by reading our in-house reports and in the industry reports mainly before entering anything new. So when we entered, for example, healthcare, we had industry statistics of healthcare business which our research team made. Any business we enter, explore, or sort of try to even think about entering or investing in, we get a research team to make a thorough report, which takes about a week's time. We go through it, we analyze it, and if everything looks green and good, we go and we enter and we try to make the most of the opportunities. It's not always been successful. That we enter in different industries and being diverse and being a jack of all, king of none. But you have to read and you have to know how much of you can, and then it's up to the experts that you actually bring on board with you to run the business, execute it to perfection, and make money for you. That's the key challenge. You cannot yourself run every business if you are just a business grad and not, let's say, expert in oil and gas or lubricants or IT or anything of that sort. That's the suicidal approach. Why India is successful in diversified businesses is because people in India and businessmen in India are good at people skill. They have a lot of talent available, and people are very conducive and motivated by business and business houses. So the Tata, for example, has 103 businesses, and he himself cannot run all of them, right? So what will he do? He will get the best of people and put them on top top positions to run those businesses. That's the approach you have to take. And cash is king. If you have cash, you can explore, you can experiment, and you can go forward. If you lose money, you'll take a step back, obviously, and maybe steps back if you lose more money.
Yeah, sometimes
So,
it's two
it's
steps
risky.
forward and one step back as well.
Yeah,
And
can
these
be.
experts that you're talking about,
Yes.
how do you recruit them? How easy or difficult is talent acquisition in the jargon for you? And how do you retain, keep them motivated? That's the second part of it.
Right.
But just getting the right folks would be key in these places, because you have to trust their judgment.
Right.
You may take the final call, but it's their advice on which you might act.
Right. So I frankly speaking feel like talent is available in plenty in India, and to get them, get a good person is about chemistry also. If they get along with you and you get along with them, if they gel with your work culture.
Right.
What we would see is we scan people for performance, ethics, and we scan them for reputation. So if they have all these three people and we have a good reference point or an agency that has recruited, help us get to that person, we would meet the person, get to know them. And if all is well and they are in line with our vision and we can get along and come to consensus about things going forward,
Right.
they would be on board. And we've had a lot of good quality people coming on board in our lubricants business. IT team is very young. Trading business is handled by our management, top management. Energy business, we are experts in Moscow who are taking care of daily operations. So we have industry experts in every field in which you've entered. That's key, I think, because nobody can, no non-expert can run a business unless they really put in a lot of hard work, which is sometimes it can be a calling, but it's tough.
So where does bulk of your time go? If you had, let's say, 12 hours at work,
Right.
what are 2 or 3 things that keep you occupied?
I have about 8 to 10 hours of work a day. That's how much I limit myself to. But the remaining time, my mobile phone makes me an office wherever I am. Today, you don't need to be in office really. You have Zoom, you have email, you have social media, you have LinkedIn, I mean, for hiring, firing.
Right.
And you have so many things at your disposal that 24/7 you are a workaholic. You think about work. You have to switch off. You have to let your thoughts flow and live a little. But it's getting tough now.
Right.
Because there are many industries we are in. There are global operations. We have to take care of a lot of different time zones and people and commitments and different things, and it gets tough. But weekends are where I take time off and relax. Otherwise, also time management is key. Sleeping on time, getting up on time is important. I have been a night person all my life, actually.
Okay.
Because I write at night. I've written a book called The Business of Life. I'm writing my second book right now, and that all happens at night for me. So that is not a luxury I have much, but I take out time till like about 2 in the morning. I sleep. I wake up at 8 and go to work at 10. So I'm sleepy. I come back. Those are few odd days. But then the time comes when I have to go to Moscow and London and here and there. Those are also few odd days. But remaining time, it's okay to be in office for 8 to 10 hours, and you can manage almost anything and everything if you have enough people, enough manpower, enough resources. And good direction. It keeps you going, it keeps you motivated, knowing that you can get somewhere with what hard work you're putting in.
I was going to ask you what keeps you up at night. I'll have to skip that because I don't see that you sleep, do you?
I do, of course. I need my 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Just off late, I've been sleeping late because of my second book, and that's why. I
What's
have
that
the
about,
coffee.
if I may ask?
This book is about my manifesto, like ideas for India and its development, how to make India a superpower by taking care of micro details which don't cost much, but they've been overlooked. They're not copy paste from Western economies or the best countries or best practice from different countries. There's some innovative ideas as well, but there's something you have to keep in mind is that some systems in different countries are in place for a reason. They are the best you could think or they could think of with money. And today, if we have money, we can proudly say we can also do the same thing without feeling any shame in it. I would say Europe, being a colonial country and a rich country in the past, is probably the most beautiful part of the world. America being the richest is prosperous for sure, but taking a bit of everything and innovating and making India in a unique way, changing some laws, making it more business and tourism friendly. Things like e-visas, clean water and taps, clean water bodies, no pets, sorry, no animals on streets, no waste management system. They're all been overlooked. How can India be a superpower when we have trash on the road on highways across for 1 kilometer stretch. Train lines are full of filth. Water bodies, people are defecating. How can we say we're the third largest economy? Even if we are, I mean, what do we have to show for it? We can pass Japan, Germany proudly. We can even beat China, USA one day. But if we have this state, I mean, people are not going to be able to understand how India is doing well and or make it help it do better.
Do you think businesses, although it's not their prerogative or it's not expected from them to contribute back to the society, but do you think that capitalism, profitable enterprises should give something back, and if so, what can be done? Of course, there are laws that say that 2% of your net profit, if you're a listed entity beyond a particular amount, needs to go back in CSR. But what are your views, given that you're writing this book and these are your views? Can businesses also help in addition to the government?
Businesses cannot be forced to do it. 2% tax is enough, I think, and that's a lot also, I think. But businesses should do it. If you see the most respected houses and respected people in the world who made it, and we respect them and we really swear by them in the business world, like the Shah Rukh Khan of Bollywood is probably Ratan Tata or Bill Gates in this world today, or Tom Cruise, Bill Gates of the world today, who's donated 50% of his wealth, Warren Buffett 99% of his wealth. Ratan Tata's 50% of his profits go to charity. So in such a world, we can only say that we are ashamed not to participate in any activity. I have a foundation in Enso Group called Enso Foundation. We do a little work. I hope to do more of that. I hope to contribute as much as I can. I have dreams and visions for that foundation. It should not be a compulsion, but it should really be part of sustainability and ESG. Do your bit for the community. It gives you a green effect, and it's auto marketing also. That part gets you soft power, and people are drawn to you. So it's all good, to do it. And I think it's everyone's duty, not fiduciary, but moral duty to do it.
Nicely said. And you're in the course of business, and there are different businesses that you've set up over time. Where do you see, this is this typical question, but I'd like to put you on a spot and say next 5 years, how do you see Enso at?
We are actually right now starting services in almost all countries in IT. We are in lubricants distributing in India. Trading, we are open to a lot of countries in Asia. We have active operations in energy in Russia, some operations in Canada. We plan to maximize profits and revenues, primarily profits, in the next few years, develop the businesses we have in hand. If we have something exciting that comes along, we will not shy away from it. However, we think we have a lot on a platter. We have valuable assets in terms of natural resources, which has given us a platform that is what we expected 20 years ago when we started the business, and we aim to grow. We want to be the best in the country. I can say we want to be the biggest in the country or in the world, but it's not so easy. So we have to be practical and taking less risks. If we can get up, we will.
And how would you, the part about at the beginning you said, by default you are risk averse and you will make sure that you take steps accordingly. What do you do when things, let's say, despite doing all of that, don't work out? And let's say, how do you deal with failures? And not everything can be a success. So how do you deal with that?
Well, you have to, in times of failure, you have to accept that it's a failure. You have to learn the lesson and you have to move on. It can be a fighting and daunting task to actually start afresh and see your hard work gone down the drain. But in that situation, what you do is you look 2 steps forward, look at 2 steps forward, and look at the future ahead of you, and you say, what time I have wasted, I can actually now do something different and probably try another thing. And the fighting spirit is what keeps a businessman going. You have to take risks, and you have to have guts, and you have to have the grit and the zeal to work hard. My father is my biggest role model in that way, I would say. Right. He has only seen success in his life, brief periods of some small problems or here and there. Also are valuable lessons that from which we pick up as youngsters, me and my sister, or he himself. We discuss these things, the things mistakes we made, and what not to do in the future that are similar to those mistakes. Right. Yeah, so everything is a learning lesson in failure. And it could cost you 10 sleepless nights. The 11th day, you'll wake up and you'll say, okay, I want to now start something different, or take it from where I left off and see what best I can do from here onwards. And I think it should not be to a point of sacrificing every energy, or just being dissatisfied if you don't get to your goals in life. But based your basic needs and your basic Maslow's needs plus Wi-Fi is taken care of today, you can survive. And every failure can be challenging to get up from, but it's not the end of the world.
Maslow's needs and Wi-Fi. I'm going to use that
That's
somewhere.
a new addition to Maslow's needs, Wi-Fi.
Thanks, Vaibhav, for your time. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. It was lovely talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you sometime again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join us again next time as we continue to uncover more such untold stories of business leaders shaping the future of their industries. Thank you.